In this video, I want to show you an alternative to soldering your tensor rings together. I'll show you how to create one of those to make a really strong bond, and all the equipment you need is there. To get your tensor ring into this circle, I have made another video in great detail. I'm going to go back to that on my profile before you watch any further. But basically all you do, you get your length of wire, you cut it to your sacred measurement, what you want. Find something you can put it around to, use a mallet to knock it all the way around like this. So obviously I've already done this one, but basically just put it around there. And you just use your mallet working round. Like I said, I have made another video, so just go and take a look at that before you go any further, and I'll show you how we can actually join these two together without using any solder. So basically we're going to create one of these, and we're going to thread it onto here, thread it onto there on both sides, and at the end there, hang on, get into focus, on the fastener you need to cut the edge so it's got a bit stuck out like that. Hang on, like that. And then when you get it onto there, you're just going to use your pliers to crimp that end bit right into the wire, really tightly. And then you can use whatever pliers you've got, whatever, to actually crush this like a spring. And I've made this so it's just a little bit bigger than the actual wire you're using. So basically it's trial and error, and I'll explain exactly how I make this now. So you need to find something that you can spin your copper wire around and what is the same diameter as what the wire is what you're using. Now, as it turns out, this dowsing rod I bought a long time ago just happens to be the exact diameter for the actual copper gauge what I'm using at the moment, right? So all you need to do is just wrap it around this bottom bit here, create a handle, and then you just wrap it around that, and I'll show you next exactly how you do it. But to start making this clamp, you put some wire around there like that. That's just so you can get your hand on it to grip it. And you start twisting it around this bit, as you can see. And then you just keep twisting it, keep going around and around like that very tightly until you make the spring. Now basically you can do this as long as your piece of wire is, and then you can use that, once you've made that, let's say you make one that long, you can then crimp them off to make multiple ones, or if you're just making one tensor ring, as you can see you haven't got to twist it around that many times. Now what I've done, I've set this little jig up on the end of my bench here, so you can see that, and I use this here to measure. So when I put my length of wire along there, it butts up against that, and then that gives me, so I can measure it accurately. But what I found is it's really handy for actually winding this, because I've been putting the handle end of it in there, I'll give you a sec, like that. That's keeping that steady, and then while we're doing that, that's keeping the end steady. I can concentrate on spinning this round here. And like I said, whatever you're using to actually do, you might just be using a nail to make one, or whatever it is, what you can find in your house, what's actually the right diameter. It took me quite a bit of trial and error before I found this old dowsing rod, and once I did, I realised I could make some alternative to actually soldering, because the soldering's really messy, it gets more expensive, it's time consuming to get it right, whereas this is easier to do, and if you clamp it right, and if you cut the end of the ring right before we put it on, which I'll show you next, it makes an incredibly strong ring, very good bond. So as you can see, just by doing that, that's made one there, and you can clip that in half, and that'll do for two. Okay, once you've made it, untangle the bit off the handle, and then you can just pull it off there like that. Feel it nice and tight, and there you go. You've got a really nice crimp. But then get your pliers. And just when you cut it off, make sure you're leaving a bit hanging off so that can clamp right into the wire. So it's a bit trial and error, you don't have to be mega accurate at this point. Same with this side, just trim that off. Like that. And then that there, I can make a good two ones. So just put it in there. There you go. You made yourself two clamps for two tensor rings. So the next one, I'll show you a very important step, because if you don't get the next step right, it won't work. Step is to make sure you're getting flat ends on this joint here. So when you put your clamp onto it, it's bringing those wires together, and they're both touching on the wire, what they should be. So in other words, I don't know if you can actually see that, if it'll focus in. So what you need to do is get your file, and you just need to file the end off. But don't forget, you want to keep to the sacred measurement, so you're only talking about a fraction just to make it perfectly straight. And in fact, when you're actually cutting your wire in the first place, when you're doing your first cut, when it's a full length, before you put it around your circle, you need to make sure that when you use your pliers or your cutters, make sure you cut it at a right angle like that, so therefore you're getting a straight cut all the way down the wire. So when it comes to doing this bit, it's just a matter of just buffering the edge off. So you just do that on both edges like that, and then I'll show you on the next part how to put the fastener on. Now all you need to do is just put that onto there, get it about halfway, hold it on with your fingernail, shove the other end in there, and then just start to twist this a little bit just to work the wire in, because if you found something that's really close to the size of the wire, it's going to make a tight fastening. So once that's shoved right in, you need to put that up to a window or a bright light, because you'll be able to see if it's touching perfectly. Now I've just done this already prior to this video, and I know that that one fits in perfectly, so I just shove it in as much as I can. And all you're going to do then is just get your pliers, and you're just going to crimp the ends and crimp that end. And once that end there, you can see that once that has been crimped down by the end of that, a lot of pressure put on there, the actual end of that bit will stick into in between the two wire wraps, and it becomes very, very strong. You do that on both sides. Once you hold it up to the light again, make sure you're happy that it's touching 100%, and then you can use your pliers then to go along there, putting as much pressure as you can, working it round all the way around, putting pressure on, crimping it together like that, and then you'll find you have an incredibly strong tensor ring. It's 100% copper. It's totally manufactured by you. You don't need any solder or any plumber's equipment, so it makes it easier to do. And I think, and most people seem to think the same, they look very pretty as well, because the solder obviously is designed for plumbing, whereas this is, I've just designed it specifically for this. I mean, I'm not the only one that does these, don't get me wrong, but I just wanted to show you guys how I do it. So hope that helps. Cheers guys, bye.